A lot has happened in year 2021 for the Nebraska Grain Sorghum Board, and we're getting all the details with Nate Blum. He serves as the executive director with the Nebraska Grain Sorghum Board. Nate, it is so great to catch up with you. Thanks so much for hopping on.
Hey, good morning. It's such a pleasure to be with you, and thank you for everything that you and the team there do.
Absolutely. So we want to recap 2021. There was a lot going on this year with the Nebraska Grain Sorghum Board. Give us those highlights. What were they?
Well, I tell you, first of all, it's a very exciting time to work in the sorghum industry. And I say that because we're in a period of fairly rapid expansion and growth for not only international commodity markets, but also value-added specialty consumer markets, both here at home and around the world. I think our producers around the state have really begun to see some of the value of having sorghum as part of their cropping system here in Nebraska, and that's evidenced by the fact that we actually had a 77% increase in acres in 2021 over 2020. And as far as bushels, our yield, rather, I should say, you're looking at a 46% increase in bushels coming out of Nebraska. Now, that being said, there's still a lot of room for more producers to get in. We're seeing a ton of products, everything from as mainstream as your Cheerios and some of your flour brands at the grocery store to new markets like aquaculture and bioplastics and a host of other things, snack foods as well. So we're really excited for the growth that we saw in 2021, and we're more excited about some of the partnerships we've been building throughout the last few years, and those include partnerships with other commodity groups, of course, like corn and wheat and soybeans, as well as domestic processors, Department of Economic Development here in the state, and now some international contacts through a conference we attended in Toulouse, France in October of 2021. What we found out at that conference is that the sorghum industry worldwide really shares the same challenges and opportunities. And so many of the directors from other agencies globally and from other countries and I have come together to work on some issues together that can benefit the entire industry, not just us here in Nebraska, though, of course, we would all benefit from doing that. So we're really excited for what happened in 2021 and looking forward to more growth in 2022.
Absolutely. So you mentioned that growth here on the local level. You also talked about the national level and the international level. And you guys actually had a lot of activities throughout the year. I know some of them had to be altered a little bit, but both the opportunity to interact with growers and the opportunity to interact with the end consumer. Tell me about some of those.
Right. So in 2021, our sorghum symposium, which happens every January, did have to be held virtually, which was unfortunate. But we were able to house those producer resources, which include agronomy and climate and some marketing information, among others, on our website, which is nebraskasorghum.org. That was our first event of the year. We also had, of course, our hybrid field days in the fall here. Our event in Trenton that was hosted by Mike Baker was really well attended. We had about 60 or 70 farmers there. As well as some folks from the U.S. Global Leadership Coalition and the U.S. Sorghum Checkoff, USCP, United Sorghum Checkoff Program. Sorry to stumble on that one a little bit. And then that data from Mike's Field Day is, of course, also up on our website. We also participated in the TAPS program. One of the things we did there was we trialed an experimental high-protein sorghum that came out of Texas. That's a line that is going to be really important in aquaculture feed production. And the fact that we were able to show that it grew really well up here in North Platte is a good opportunity, another opportunity for value-added sorghum production in Nebraska. And then we just finished up board meetings, actually. So we had our last Grain Sorghum Checkoff board meeting a couple weeks ago, and then yesterday we had our final Sorghum Producers Association meeting of the year. Just yesterday, as a matter of fact. So, listen, everything's difficult, of course, with the pandemic and things like that, but we're still able to travel, do our outreach, and get out there and provide value to our producers and to consumers in a very smart way. So.
We're visiting with Nate Blum. He's the executive director of the Nebraska Grain Sorghum Board. A couple of minutes ago, you had touched on the substantial increase in acres and production of sorghum across Nebraska. As you look ahead into 2022, obviously that's something you want to continue to grow, but what else is ahead for 2022?
Well, first of all, anecdotally at least, we're hearing from seed dealers, particularly in Southwest Nebraska, that there will be an even greater amount of growers either returning to sorghum or coming back to sorghum for the first time in a long time. And that's, again, really driven by the opportunities in the market. Sorghum on average right now across the country is about 15 over corn. We think that's going to go higher again. We've already sold just so much, even 3 weeks into the marketing year this year. And frankly, we have marketers who are calling us looking for grain from as far away as China and other places in Southeast Asia that we don't have enough supply here to provide them. Looking forward into 2022, I think it's going to be a little easier for our farmers to work directly with those end users through a couple of projects that we have working on. I can't say too much about them yet, but they really are economic development focused programs. I'm hoping we can cut a couple of ribbons here in 2022. So that's one of the big things to look forward to. More tangibly in the short term, our sorghum symposium is going to be in Kearney on January 27th. It's a full day of great resources. It's going to be in person this year with some recordings on our website as well. But it's going to be a full day of agronomy and policy and technology and a bunch of other things that are going to be great resources for producers. We're also bringing some sorghum processors, some existing processors to the state in January around that, and we're working on a showcase event to showcase their products, not only in front of other entrepreneurs, but in front of investors and private sector equity as well, which is going to be fantastic. And then just shortly after that in February, I'll actually be at the Gulf Food Show in Dubai with Secretary of State Bob Evnen. That trade mission will also include stops in Kuwait and Jordan, trying to open some new markets and as well bring new processors here to Nebraska to access the domestic market. Again, there's just such excitement for sorghum right now. Again, not just globally, not just in the ag sector, but really among consumers that want those specialty products, those specialty niche markets that sorghum can fill, the non-GMO, gluten-free, sustainable, healthy, all those things. I'm excited to see where we go here in the future.
Absolutely. A lot of great things to look forward to. Nate, thank you so much for joining us and safe travels to you.
Hey, thank you so much. My pleasure. Again, anytime, glad to help.
Absolutely. That is Nate Blum. He's the executive director of the Nebraska Grain Sorghum Board, recapping year 2021 and looking ahead to 2022.